Welcome to Mams Talk, where Mams Talk Survivor. I'm Kay. I am the host and game maker of Survivor Manhattan and Survivor Skaneateles, which we will be talking about today. And I have some of our contestants here. Um, Jess, who has been with me along this entire ride for Manhattan, but now we're taking on Skaneateles together. How are you feeling about episode 1 of this epic series?
I'm ecstatic to talk about this. This is such a wild ride. I'm really thrown back to 2023 right now. This was such a moment in time for us as a collective. So I'm just excited to talk about the whole season.
Truly, truly, truly. Um, and on the doll side here, we have Allie. Welcome to the
Hello,
pod.
everyone.
Welcome, ma'am.
Excited to talk season 2. Hello, ma'ams.
And tribeless as of now, but soon we'll have a tribe. We have Grant. Welcome. First time, ma'am. Hopefully not last time.
Hello, the mams are mamming, and I'm here for it. Worlds collide, the sky was on fire. It was a great time.
The sky was on
Yeah.
fire.
You know
Yeah.
what's so funny is I was just cleaning out the air filter that we bought during the wildfire stuff, and I was like, how long does air filter last in air purifier, whatever? And it was like a year, and I was like, well, I know exactly when that was because it was Survivor Skinny Alice. So I have an easy timeline for the
Yeah,
air filter on that.
I did forget about that, but like truly there was a wildfire in Canada like the day
Really
before
intense.
this happened.
Yeah.
We thought we
I
might have to
almost was like
cancel.
we might have
Yeah.
to cancel this game, blah blah blah. But the air quality did get better, so we were
Yes.
able to play at least somewhat to our highest ability.
Yeah.
It does hinder some of us later, but we'll get to that later in the season. But without further ado, I think we should get into the episode.
Yeah.
So we
I'm
have some
ready.
old faces, back from Manhattan. We have the two of you, obviously, Jess and Allie. Ella's here returning. Dylan is here returning. Caroline and Zach. So, Grant,
Honestly,
sorry, I just curious. You watched the whole season of Manhattan before playing. What were your anticipations going into this? With all the people who had played before.
Hmm. It had been a while since I had watched it, so I guess the people who popped for me were the ones that, I don't know, maybe watching it were, for me, more entertaining or charismatic. So, for example, Dylan really stood out to me.
Mm.
I think Allie a little bit as well, which then in my mind makes me think, these are the people that are gonna be charismatic that maybe I should look out for of the ones I didn't know, right? Because there were still plenty of people that I had known beforehand.
Yeah, well, did Allie pop? Because apparently she was agreeable.
I mean, agreeability does not mean not charismatic.
That's so true, so true.
In fact, I would say
Likable does not mean you're a good player, but I was
Yeah.
likable.
But I did appreciate you saying that you're going to come in with strategy. And I quote, sorry, I'm coming in with strategy, maybe who knows?
Yeah. Mhm.
with this,
did.
there was this hand motion happening.
So
Maybe
a
who
lot
knows?
of conviction
Yeah.
about the game that you're about to
I
play.
really went in so strong with so much confidence. I think that my confidence was really shaken after Survivor Manhattan. So I wanted to make it clear that I knew what I did wrong, but I also didn't want to set myself up for failure. So
Yeah.
that's where we landed with my
Yeah.
strategy, maybe, who knows,
Yeah, you wanted to call it out before someone else did.
before
Yeah.
someone else did. Exactly.
In
Exactly.
classic Allie fashion.
Yeah. We get a lot of really great confessionals right off the bat,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, no, this was fun to watch. The cast of characters
I
being
wrote
created.
down, first of all, fractious relationship with Caroline.
Mm-hmm.
We must discuss.
I
And
also
second-
just want to say, I'm sorry, before we move on from that.
Yeah.
Fractitious is not a word. It's so important that we note that. Because
You know
every
what?
time I type
And he said it with such confidence. I agreed.
And I assumed it was a word, but I was typing my notes in Google Docs It's not a word.
red line.
Yep, I'm looking
Good
at
bluff,
it right now.
wasn't it?
Yep.
It was a good bluff. Good bluff. I'm
And
just curious,
also-
what can you go into your fractitious relationship, as you call it, with Caroline?
I just know in the past, Caroline's always been very good at contradicting me, being coming in with a zinger whenever I say something, throwing me off. So I just
Yeah.
knew she would be a speed bump or a roadblock, and I had to look out for it.
To be fair, I think a lot of us come in with zingers for you. So I think it is worth noting, because I don't think we have a lot of backstory of like how everyone knows each other.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
It is
like
relevant.
It is relevant. So you, sorry, I'm a little sick, so apologies if my voice cuts out. So Jess, you, Grant, Max, Caroline, is that everybody? And
Santino.
Santino
Mhm.
all went to high
Famously
school
Santino,
together.
yeah.
Famously Santino. So that's a one group, right? We have the like
Mhm.
high school group, and then Justin is your brother.
Yeah, Justin, my brother, who did go to the same high school, but isn't in the same like,
Right.
group
But
of
you know,
people. But yeah.
yeah. And then we have like the New York college crew, which is Allie, Ella, Gabby, Dylan,
Surratt.
Surratt. Am I missing
Is that
somebody?
is that it?
Yes.
And me.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then obviously
me.
like
Yeah.
I
yeah.
went to college with them, and then obviously
And then
you
now
went
I'm
to
here.
that.
Yes.
And then Mo is best buddies with you, Grant.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then
And good buddy.
Zach and Caroline,
And Zach is
Zach is Caroline's.
yes,
and
Caroline's
then Dominic and
roommate.
Zach. So kind
And
of.
then
And
yes,
Dominic and
then
Zach went to high school together.
Dominic
or
and
All
Zach.
some sort of school
important
together.
to establish right now.
This
Yes,
is
it
very
is
important.
all-
I know a little long-winded, but is
the lore
worth
goes deep here, and
mentioning.
it does impact people's decision making.
For
for
sure.
sure.
Absolutely. That was a big part of episode
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. I also just something else I wrote here. And I think we can talk about it right now. That Surratt, he did drown. He's
Briefly.
okay.
Something to note.
He's okay.
He
He's
is
doing
okay.
great.
He is
As we
okay.
wrote in the text on the episode, he is okay.
He
He's
is
okay.
okay. He never went under, just so everyone knows.
He
But he
swallowed
was
a lot of water.
concerned. He was really concerned about his boyfriend Dylan, and
Mhm.
Dylan did not want to be tied to Surratt because, and I quote, "That bitch is dead weight to me."
Yeah.
And I felt like that was maybe bad juju, like he was like literally being weighed down in the water.
Mhm.
We
And
also
he
can't
said,
forget that Dylan's shirt says dump him.
Oh.
As in, like, dump him in
into the lake.
I do
right into
feel
the
like
lake.
Dylan maybe like cursed his own partner.
Okay, also something that Dylan like told us before the game. We were like in the grocery store buying food, and we were like, Dylan has a lot of allergies, and we were like, can you eat this bread? Whatever. And then he's like, okay, I don't know if you, first of all, this was him trying to tamper with the game, so I'll expose him right now. But he said, I don't know if you're gonna control the tribes or if they're gonna be random, but I don't want to be on a tribe with Surratt because that bitch is an anchor and I don't want him weighing me down.
He did say this.
And also he said, and I wrote, he quoted Maya Angelou and said, viewers beware, you're in
You're
for
in
a
for a
scare."
and we
And it's
were.
here we were in for.
And we were the late great Maya Angelou.
I mean, right from the jump, like literally, the man jumped in,
The first thing.
and we were in for a scare.
We were.
I will also say, when Dylan said "viewers beware," you're in for a scare, and like quoted Maya Angelou, I was like, she said that, and he was like, no, babes, that's Goosebumps.
I also love the Goosebumps shirt that's happening at the same time on Surratt.
Which is Surratt's.
Yeah, like they're tied together this whole time, whether they try not to be or not. But
I don't know. I don't know.
Really scary. Yeah, the fact that it was the first thing that happened in the first challenge did not leave me with a lot of confidence of my hosting game planning abilities.
Yeah, I think we maybe like, I mean, obviously we went into the swimming with like a lot of like caution and like we knew that this was like something we had to be aware of. But I think jumping right into it at the first, like going from like, okay, fun Central Park day, and then it's like, bitch, you're swimming. Bitch, get
Yeah.
in the water. It was like
Get
a
the fuck
lot,
out
I
of the water.
guess.
We
Yeah. To
also
like
really we underestimated how like physically intensive that swim was going to be because it looks like a really short distance. I'm a fairly strong swimmer. I haven't swum in a long time, but I used to be on the swim team. Surat's a strong swimmer. We jumped
Yeah.
in. We were, as Gabby foreshadowed, we were floundering like little floppy fish in the
so
water.
true.
We-
So true.
yep.
So much. Oh wow.
And
This
a
is
little
like-
peek behind the curtain here, Grant, since you were not selected for a tribe, you were the cameraman of this challenge, knee deep in the water with the camera like
Mhm.
up above your head. So what was your perspective on this as that position?
Yeah, that I think earlier before like he was like saying like help, like I could visibly see him like starting to struggle and sort of like gulping for air. So I started moving forward. The problem was I was carrying the camera. So my first thought was get over to the pier, put it down, then I would go. And at that point, Justin and Santino jumped in and they had it covered and they did a great job. So
yeah, good job, our two
I
boys.
do
No,
have to say-
because I'm not gonna let you because Allie's gonna say it before. And I just want to say, you said you did see it, and then you tried to like do something about it. Allie swam right by him, and it in the footage, it looks like she sees him struggling and is just like, bye.
Yeah, the footage is damning. I have to say that.
The footage.
is damning.
You
What
said
was
that's
happening-
your struggle.
what was happening in the moment? I was struggling to get to shore myself. And I thought, like me, that Surat was stopping to catch his breath. And I was like, oh, this is my chance. We both stopped to catch our breath. So I can like get my lead again. And so I continued on. And it wasn't until I heard his, which you can hear in the footage, help, that I realized.
See, and now we can laugh about it because he's fine. It's okay.
He's
We
fine.
can all laugh about it. But
I felt so horrible looking back and realizing that I had swam past a drowning man who I have known for almost 10 years. And I just let him be in the lake and drown.
Yep.
yeah,
Sorry to Sarah.
I think every person that has watched this for the first time has been like, why didn't Allie do anything?
I was
Right.
like, oh, he's taking a little break, just like me. Anyway, back
She
to
needed-
the side stroke.
She needed that immunity idol. She said, "This is mine for the taking."
I think
Survivor, you have to
I think it's
survive.
fair to say that, everyone watching, there's a moment where you're like, oh, wait, is this real? Because,
Right.
Yeah.
how often are you actually in a situation where someone like actually needs help?
Yeah.
So I think that combined with the fact that she was the one that was in the challenge, she's already got the adrenaline going. Like Jess said, it was right in the water. Like there was no warm up, there's no other challenges. So swimming that distance, you're probably already exhausted. The shock of the physical exertion is wasting you away, and you're probably got tunnel vision. I get it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
1000%. No, to be clear, we're not
Yeah.
blaming you at all. It's just funny.
No, I know. The camera work from Grant also damning.
And-
Goes
oh.
away from Surat, follows me.
Like, oh, there she
probably the most interesting thing is Allie.
Yeah.
I had no idea what was happening. I thought he had just stopped as well. But
Yeah, it wasn't clear
Grant,
until he said
you actually
help.
did save the day, and I want to give you credit for this because Surat, the second he jumps in, he loses his buff, and you did go save it from sinking because we spent a lot of money on those custom buffs.
Yeah,
And
you can hear
happy to help.
Kay. You can hear Kay in the challenge go, oh, and he's lost his buff, and
Yep.
it's
And
it's
what was cut
behind a
out was
thin-
Grant grab his buff. Grant grab his
Grab
buff.
his buff. I have to say, the editing in that section is so insane, like in a good way. It's
very found footage esque.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Very
love
much
the
so.
like footage of like
Our
it
leg.
kind of feels like behind the scenes footage of Kay being like, okay, guys, we want to redo it. Like, what? Like,
Totally.
and then it's like, okay, we're gonna move ahead. We're gonna go forward. It's very reality TV.
Mhm.
Like,
It's a doc moment for
It's
sure.
a
Yeah.
doc moment indeed.
That honestly, that was my favorite part of the episode, being like, whoa, like a peek behind the curtain, like this is what it looks like when the cameras aren't rolling.
exactly.
But meanwhile, I'm like, Grant, could you just like press play and on the button?
Like, record this, record this. I also
Yeah.
love him putting the camera down.
Oh,
It's
very
so like
dramatic.
it's
Yeah,
so
Okay, but okay, we'll get back to the challenge, but first I do want to talk about the actual like tribe selection.
yeah.
What were our thoughts about like the twist, first of all? That
I thought it was
well, because
I thought it
like
was
I'm just
fun.
like, anyone want to help me hand out buffs? Like, oh, I'm so bad at this. I need two
Mhm.
people to help me.
Yeah.
was
And then they
masterminded.
volunteer, and then
That was so
we're-
teacher of you. I have to say, I mean, as someone who watches Survivor, I knew my ass was not volunteering for that. Like, I knew it was gonna be bad for me if I volunteered. Well, I mean, you could subjective if it's bad or not to be able to pick your tribe. I personally did not want to have to do that first
Either.
thing. So yeah. But I thought it was fun. I also thought I noted that I think it's really funny that Dominic is picking tribes because he literally knows one person. Well, he kind of knows Caroline too. But
and the one person that he knows is the other
is the
captain.
other person picking. And I just thought his
That's funny.
choices were so interesting because he has like kind of like a real Survivor-esque like first impression based
vibe.
choosing system. Yeah, so it's just interesting.
And you were wait, Allie, first pick here.
Oh my god, first pick Allie.
overall
First
first pick.
Yeah, like Ella said in her later confessional, it really did bring me back to schoolyard picks,
Mhm.
which I'm sure that everybody can guess. I was not often picked first in the schoolyard. So this was quite a moment. I was shocked by it. I would not have picked myself first, but I was very excited by it. I really liked Dominic, so I was like, yes, perfect. We're gonna work together. This is gonna be awesome. Like he trusts me. So I was really excited by that. And also I felt like I was in a good position that I could pick who I wanted without being the person who was picking, which
Yes.
definitely were in a similar situation.
Yes, that was something that I found was helpful as well. I mean, I wasn't picked as early as you. But like
Oh, was
yeah,
Ella picked second?
Ella was picked second and then I was picked third. Well, not
Right.
third, I was picked fourth.
Right.
But then like me, Zach, and Ella were working as a collective to pick the rest of our tribe. Like it wasn't just Zach picking.
Yeah.
But shoot, I forgot what I was gonna say. Move on.
Well, we do have the first pick and the last pick,
Yeah.
non-pick
Non-pick.
here. How'd you feel?
Yeah, I figured it'd be a little rough because everyone else was gonna have a head start at the alliance building. So, I was gonna be out of the loop, and I, had my work cut out for me. That's the initial thought.
Yeah, it's a scary twist.
Yeah.
I think
That's true,
that
but
you
I
guys
do.
had a benefit though.
Yeah,
Like,
you
guys had a lot of
made the most
benefit.
out of it for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, I tried to. I wish Mo did as well.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about it.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, he was definitely not taking any initiative to do with the things that you were doing. I mean,
Well, I love
you,
that little
just
cut
did
of everyone in the coconuts being like, yeah, Grant's been hanging around here asking questions, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then Gabby just being like, and we have not seen Mo's face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
I
favorite
mean,
Mo moment is when Grant said, "I'm gonna backstab you," and Mo said, "Okay, that's fine." And I do have to say, I think that the agreeable crown has been passed to a new
Yeah.
player.
I would say that Mo is
1000%.
But
textbook
his comes from a
agreeable.
place of apathy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yours is more like trying to appease. His is just
Yeah.
simply like
he's
doesn't
happy to be
matter
there.
to me. Yeah.
Yep.
I just love I think that first round was like 2 hours long before the vote even
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
Just to like give people time to like settle in. 2 hours, the man could not walk across the street to the other house.
Truly. I guess he didn't want to hang out with us.
Yeah, it's like the less he did, the more it emphasized that I was going back and forth.
Definitely.
So, and I want to say I did spend like an equal amount of time at both places. It's
Mhm.
just, I don't know. I guess there were more shenanigans on the other side.
Hmm.
So
We were, yeah.
Definitely. I think there were stronger opinions about you, I guess. Um
On the
Yeah.
coconuts.
yeah.
Yeah, it
We
seems
I mean,
too
there were a
definitely-
lot of
real.
negative opinions from your high school friends.
From your close friends. Yeah.
From your close friends.
Which I also think led to the last pick situation, because every confessional is
Mhm.
like, I do not trust Grant. I don't trust Grant.
Right.
That's kind of, I figured it could be two things. Either one, the people who don't know me, so they just didn't choose me, or the people who do know me and told people don't choose him.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
I
it's
will
like
say,
Max, Caroline, Jess. And that's what
I
I was thinking
told.
when I came into it, was
Mhm.
be afraid of the people who know me.
Yeah, I
You
did
were
tell
right.
Zach to pick Justin over you, so that was.
By the way,
that
I
was the
did
kicker.
write, speaking of Justin, I just wrote, Justin is one of the funniest people alive.
Yeah. Wait, we
Totally
didn't talk about
And
this.
it's so effortless too.
We
Oh,
kind of skipped
effortless.
past some of the welcome confessionals, but such an iconic moment from Justin.
I mean, what does he say?
Um,
He says,
He says,
"What will I do to win?"
I'll do what it takes, even if it means my life. Another, also foreshadowing for Surratt.
Even if it means my life. And yeah, I mean,
He's the one that jumped in.
he dove to save him.
He dove in. We you
Wow.
know what we also skipped past is, oh wait, sorry. That was before the challenge. Sorry, I'm the one that's skipping ahead. I think. No, I'm not.
What do you want to talk about?
We didn't talk about Santino and
Let's
his
talk about
confessional.
him.
Well, okay, so first of all, we're like, oh my god, we're the coconuts, blah blah, we're so happy to be here, which is such like, the coconuts have this like, they really are, they being we really are like, oh my god, we're the coconuts, we're so happy to be here, we're a big family. But then it goes like, Ella's like, oh, so Santino was talking about his favorite Survivor players, and then it's like us being like, he's gonna be a villain because he said Russell and he said Ozzy, so he's gonna be like really good at challenges. And then I go, he's gonna have a huge ego. And then it cuts to Santino and he goes, first and foremost, I consider myself a family man.
Coming from an Italian background.
Yeah, and he
Coming
was
from an
going to work
Italian
on
background.
people with egos in the game.
You know, the game. He immediately suggested bribery. He said that he thought that he could bribe Kay, and
Yes,
said
yes.
he does not know the people he's with right now.
No, not
We
at
are
all.
sticklers.
The villain,
Yeah.
the arc started soon.
Yeah,
away.
I also love that he mentions Max as a possible connection because of his connection to you, but not me. He doesn't talk about me at all.
Right.
He goes, I'm also close with Kay's sibling, Max. No one else.
To be clear, everybody, and I will reveal this, Santino and Jess did go to prom together.
They
That
didn't
we
just go to
did.
prom.
This
They
is
had
true.
quite the moment.
Oh.
They're Santino's back in high
Oh, right,
school.
yeah.
Quite
I
the
mean, I
history
feel that we
Kay-
have to elaborate on this now. We can't keep it vague.
I feel like this adds so much. I mean, the Kay directed a one-act play where Santino and I were the leads, and we had to do this like insane stage kiss that was like the entire plot of the play was centered around this like stage kiss that happens at the end of it. And yeah, no, it brought me and Santino close together, certainly.
And in a way, we're in another play that Kay directed in Survivor Skaneateles.
So true. And you
Whoa.
know, who knows if there's going to be a kiss that happens later. Not this
Never
episode, but
know.
you know, I'm not going to spoil anything.
Yeah, no spoilers, but look out
Yes, no
for a
one's
little
supposed to say
smooch.
anything.
All right, who would we put our bets on for the kiss?
Well, I mean, my first and foremost bets are me and Santino.
Yeah. I mean, you are in opposite
Reuniting.
tribes right now, but
Yeah.
once
who's
the
to
merge
say?
happens,
Who's to say? You know?
and I'm
You
just
know.
watching in the corner, like
She's like
just like
my
when I was a
friend.
director. Enough about my my high school
Yeah.
accolades. It got rave reviews.
People did think it was a hoot and a half.
They're like, that kiss was so hot.
Yeah, that was the feedback. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't expect to be talking about that today, but
We also didn't
here we are.
mention, I'm sorry, I should have been looking at my notes because I have a bunch of stuff highlighted. We also didn't mention Gabby swimming back from the challenge.
Oh, I wrote down a note for that.
Oh my god, wait, I'm the one that's jumping ahead now. I'm so sorry. We didn't even get to the challenge yet. Let's keep talking about the tribe
Listen,
pick.
we can talk about whatever we want, Jess.
I know, but I want to keep talking about the camp life and the tribe
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
before we go into the challenge.
I do want to just say that the name, the tribe name, the Coconuts, fantastic.
Place.
Yeah, I think that was Zach, if I'm
Yeah.
remembering right.
Well, I
who
think it
came
was
up with
probably
that.
because he was wearing his Kim Petra shirt.
Yes, I think so.
That's probably what it was.
Has she reached out, by the way? Has she?
No, oddly.
No, yeah, weird.
It's strange.
Yeah, that is.
I do like everyone singing and then like Justin being like so clueless, being like, "Who is this woman? What are we doing?"
Justin just happy to be there. He's just
happy to be there.
And then we get the most iconic thumbnail of all time.
Thank God.
What a great cute little moment.
Yeah. And then we get the platinum dolls, which
They were
I think
doing
we
the
could have done
stretches.
better.
Here's the background. Here's the background
nice.
on Platinum Dolls. Agree, not the best name in the world. Have to agree with you there. It was a moment of sportsmanlike collaboration because Santino suggested the Platinum Players. And I said,
yeah, it's rough. It's rough. Yeah.
I also want to preface this by saying that before this happened, we were watching Survivor Michigan, me and Kay was like, I'm gonna put my foot down if someone gives a bad tribe name. And I think you said that you would have put your foot down if it was the Platinum Players.
Yeah. If it was Platinum Players, I think I would have been like, I simply cannot be yelling that out mid challenge.
And I offered the solution of the Platinum Dolls with the thought in mind that it would be shortened to the Dolls.
And it was.
And it was.
And that was me being like so teacher's pet of me. Being like,
I wrote that down. I said Jess is being a teacher's pet.
Are we gonna call them the dolls? I also had another teacher's pet moment when I think this just happens because
I like teacher's pet of like wanting to suck up to your
way.
Well, the thing is it's not me wanting
then fiance.
It's not me wanting to suck up to you. It's wanting me to make sure that everything goes right as you are hoping it to.
I appreciate it.
So it was because you tell me like things maybe that like not like game information, but like about like setup. It's like, okay, so we're not gonna go with the
everyone readjusts. They're like it's just like the one act. She got the lead in Kay's one act, and now this.
And then you had told me that you wanted where you wanted the tribal area. You told me where that was gonna be, and then I see the dolls setting up their tent in that tribal area, and then I had to be like, I don't think Kay wants you here. Like, and I'm not even supposed to be talking to them because I'm on the other tribe, but I was like, I don't think that you're supposed to be here. And then that's why they're carrying the tent across the driveway, because it was like, I think that you guys were just like, no, it's fine. And then you like set it up. And then Kay was like, yeah, no, I don't want you there.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jessica.
I try my best.
Yeah, I think it's also worth noting, and there's a little bit of spoiler, this is revealed later, that we find out that the Platinum Dolls is the name of a strip club in Times Square.
It was meant to be.
A huge strip club.
Maybe a better name than originally anticipated.
Yeah.
It's fate. It's foreshadowing.
I think the dolls ended up being fun and funny, but yeah, maybe not the best tribe name overall.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Grant, I do sorry, while we're talking about the perspective of people who know you and their feelings about you, I think we did miss the part where Max mentions that he knows you from prior experiences because you're best friends.
Yeah,
that's right.
I love that.
We know each other from prior experiences because
we're best friends.
I love it.
Iconic.
Yeah, he had me pretty figured out, didn't he?
I
Because
just like the vagueness of like, yeah, I know him from like prior experience, but because we're best friends.
It's like so like kindergartner.
I feel like he was trying to call back Liz in Survivor Manhattan being like, me and Caroline know each other from a previous season. But then he gave up and he was like, we're best
Because
friends.
we're best friends.
Because we're best friends. You got to look out for the people you're closest with.
Exactly.
Is that the
And
truth?
that's why Max said I don't trust that bitch as far as I could throw him.
Yeah, but he also didn't want Mo. He was like, well, I also know
Yeah.
Mo's like a loose cannon.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah,
But
he was right.
yeah.
He had us pinned.
Yeah, he did. But it was cool to watch you go like back and forth, and you did have like pretty much all the power because Mo was just like, I'll do whatever
Mhm.
you don't want to do, I
Yeah, pretty
guess.
much.
And you're using it to your fullest extent. But yeah, the coconuts do win the first challenge.
Yes, and I also this is where I want to mention the funny line from Ella where Gabby's swimming back from the
Oh,
platform. We're pretty far behind, and like Gabby's like, and then Ella goes, "Come on, Gabby, you got this. You look like a blooming flower."
You look like a blooming flower. And I think Gabby mentioned she didn't even realize that like she was supposed to be like racing.
Yeah,
At that point,
yeah,
she just thought she had to, she was like getting back. I don't
yeah,
know. So that's why she's swimming like she's like a little
yeah,
puppy dog, like who has been in the
yeah.
water for the first time.
Before we move on from the challenge, I do just have to say it was a real dirty trick of the editor of this episode to include long shots of people walking up the ladder.
Yeah, yep.
Everyone
Yep.
looks so bad.
That shot of me on the ladder, because I have a bad wrist, I could not pull myself up for anything. And I'm like, and like the life jacket makes you heavier going
Yeah.
up because it's wet.
Oh.
It was tough.
Mm.
Yeah, it was tough.
We could also like point some fingers at the cameraman, maybe.
I mean, he was just doing his job.
He was just getting the footage.
I don't know.
Whoever edited, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, whoever
I
that
was
was,
that
in
maybe
those
a little
shots,
mean.
but I just want to speak on behalf of those who were.
Well, I'm pretty sure
I will
that
say it was a hard thing to edit because there was so much footage
it was
of
tough.
you specifically, Allie, going, "Go Caroline!"
Yeah, yeah,
And I wrote down,
yeah.
here's what I wrote down about that. I said, let's see. I can't listen to myself say, yeah, Caroline, ever again.
Yeah, for some reason it was always Caroline. Yeah, Caroline,
Always
go
Caroline.
Carol.
Caroline. But Grant also did some incredible drone shots. I don't know if we
Yeah.
caught that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Like which is just him running with a camera, but it's
Yeah,
very
and,
smooth,
it is.
very fast. Yeah.
I was
Oh,
having
sorry,
a
I do
blast
need
out
to.
there with those dynamic shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, maybe y'all should just vote him out because he could do
Because he could be the
this.
cameraman. I mean,
You
we
were-
tried. We tried not to have him on a tribe.
I mean, you were a great cameraman. But yeah. Oh, I do want to mention that in addition to my mistake with not giving them life vests, the puzzle was also upside down.
Yeah.
Which didn't give me a lot of confidence.
Yeah, it was a
And I
stressful
did feel
overall
like
first
I did feel like a
challenge.
fool. That's my second mistake in like 20 minutes. So I flipped them back over and we like did the dolls just like had like a minute
Yeah.
time advantage, which is
And
like the
boy,
amount
did
of
that
time.
help us.
It sure helped so much.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys were close. Like it was a close-ish race, right? No? Am I remembering wrong?
No,
I
we
remembered it
popped
being
off
like a
of it.
really tight finish
It
at
was
the end there.
You were
really
closer
stressful
than
in
you think you
person.
were.
Okay.
Don't be so hard on yourself. It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Yeah.
Not
Okay,
that
but
you were
yeah,
the one doing the puzzle, but like in
coconuts.
the end.
I was a big fan at the end when Allie's like, "It's okay, guys."
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
This is Allie's redemption arc from her
Yeah.
sore winner allegations from last season.
Which I also mentioned in this episode, which is also really annoying of me, by the way. I just
Very deep of you.
Yeah.
But
No,
I took note. I said, "Uh-oh." I said,
uh-oh.
people are gonna think I'm a sore winner. I gotta cut that out. And from that point on, I feel like I did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
And you
To
said,
be
it's
so-
okay, guys.
It's okay, guys. It's okay. It's
And that's
okay.
what Dominic like saw in you. He was like,
Yeah.
what good energy she has. So radiant,
So
positive.
gracious.
I
So
also want to be
gracious.
clear that I did not have ulterior motives with my Sword Winter era comment. It was just all in good fun.
Yes, it was all in good. But I
All
said,
in
wasn't-
good fun.
I wasn't trying to set you up,
yeah.
but
Or were
But
you?
or you know,
Okay.
you never know.
the dolls do win. And
No,
Justin's
the coconuts win.
the dolls do lose.
There you go.
But they win like in spirit, you know what I mean? Like
So true.
because of Allie's like
Because of
good
Allie's like
energy.
It's all right, guys.
What's the opposite of a sore winner? Good sport? You're good sportsmanship.
Sport.
You won in
Yeah.
sportsmanship.
Oh, I thought you meant a sore loser.
No.
Yeah, so Justin's really feeling himself. He says he's a very valuable resource. He's
Very
got the
valuable.
smarts.
He said definitely intelligence, definitely the smarts, definitely athleticism. I'm a very valuable resource. It would be unwise for me to go so soon. That's what he said.
So funny.
With his little like grass piece. It's so good.
And it's so natural. He didn't even have to try.
Yeah. I wish I could be as funny as him without trying. Oh my god.
So yeah, there's a lot of like camaraderie happening at the coconuts camp. We get a little cribs moment with our
Yeah.
narrator, Gabby.
Yeah.
I had
so funny.
so much footage from this little check out my crib moment, the Casa de Coconuts.
Mhm.
I enjoyed it all. I probably left in too much, but it made me
Definitely, but
laugh.
it was
So
funny.
I noted that as well. I said this is going on a while.
Yeah.
well, and I
Every
enjoyed it.
little joke, every little jab we made about the
Oh,
the
there were more
natural
jabs.
structure of
There were more
of the
jabs, don't you
tent.
worry. But
I
enjoyed
love
it.
when Gabby goes, it really just feels like natural or whatever she does to the tent. It's so funny.
Yeah, it was
We
sweet.
ran
And
the
then
bit into the ground.
you sure
truly.
did. But then on the other side of the street, the dolls, you're having a little bit of a messy time.
We are having a little bit of a messy time indeed. The divisions are forming. It
Yeah.
already is between the Rochester crew and the New York City crew.
Yeah.
Immediately my good friend Dylan is thrown out. And I remember in that moment thinking, they're trying to pick us off. They're trying to get rid of all the New York people. So I said, okay, yeah, Dylan should probably go for sure. And also he was, as I said in the episode, tending to his partner who had almost died.
Yeah.
So it felt like a bit of a dirty trick to vote him off.
Yeah.
Well, and
I
who
do
suggests that?
agree.
The villain.
The villain egomaniac
family man.
Sundino.
The family man, if
family
you
man.
will.
So-called family man.
Trying to vote out one of his own, an Italian.
Oh my god, Italian on Italian crime
Mm.
already?
Whoa,
Wow.
crazy.
I
just like
also
last season.
have to say that as we were watching this back, I was like, you should have made his lower third family man. I know that we didn't like know at the time how funny it was gonna become, but we should have done that in hindsight.
I do like the diversity of careers that we have happening.
Yes, I'm also still personally a fan of former consultant fired.
Right.
Yes. I also love works at the London Stock Exchange.
Yeah, me too.
Which is just true.
Which is just true. I
Fact.
know. And then we have our classic former NASA intern.
Which is also true.
True.
Which is
also
also
true.
true.
All of these things are true
Everything
things.
is true. And
Yeah.
it feels like it shouldn't be. It's like, what do
I
you
mean-
mean, doctor of psychology?
Yeah,
Gabby?
I mean, to be fair, farmer is the least true one. Because Caroline's not.
Once a farmer, always a farmer.
So true.
In her soul, she's a farmer.
She's a farmer by birth, by
Yeah.
blood.
Especially like the fun employed.
Yeah.
Yeah, unemployed.
I was hoping that maybe Sarat had quit his consulting job so I could have
Yes.
former consultant
consultant.
fired, former consultant quit. But
Yes.
they both were fired from
It's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate industry.
consultants.
Heavy turnover.
Also, partners that are both consultants what a crazy energy happening.
Crazy energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't
Insane
even-
vibes there.
But even though there's some interesting energy there, like they still love each other. Dylan's taking care of his partner
Yes.
inside.
Yeah,
And we
so-
do later get a nice look at Surat sleeping. He looks
Yeah,
very
he looks very
peaceful.
sweet sleeping.
And Gabby goes, I like her.
Right.
I also like when she goes, I think you're really close to my face. The camera.
That happens
goes.
twice this
It
episode.
happens twice because I think
Yeah.
it's Ella both times, like zooming in so far with her phone and then being like onto Gabby, and she goes, "You're really close to my face, aren't you?" But yes, no, I agree. I think that it was a little bit in bad taste to target Dylan just because he wasn't there.
Mhm.
Seemingly no other real reason to do so.
Yeah.
For sure.
But then
And
Dylan
that
comes
should, like-
back. Dylan comes back and he's like, all right, so what's Dominic's deal? What's he good
Yeah.
at? Or what's she good at? What
What?
are
No,
they
he goes.
good at?
He goes. What's her strength?
What's her strength?
A lot of pronouns.
A lot of different pronouns going on. I also have to highlight that when I said I know that you and Sarat have a relationship outside this game, and Dylan said, "Well, I don't know her that well, but he is my partner of 8 years."
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, Dylan, I have to say I was very impressed with Dylan's game in this episode
Mhm.
because I think that he does sense that people are talking about him heavy,
Mhm.
and he works that in his favor and figures out another target and knows who to talk to turn the tides in his favor a little bit is
Mhm.
something that I noticed personally.
Yeah. I mean, he also like he has a conversation with Dominic later, where
Mhm.
Dominic's like, oh, Caroline, right? Like
Exactly.
she's kind of a threat. And he's like,
Mhm.
oh, so I'm gonna go tell Caroline.
Yeah, I love
Like he knows
that.
exactly. He's like, oh, if I tell Caroline, Caroline's getting this guy out of here.
Yeah,
So
I don't think that Dominic even really like wanted Caroline as a target, like, but
Yeah.
he said too much. She said too much.
well, it's clear that Dominic was just deflecting. It's clear that he just didn't want to
Right.
say Dylan because he
Yeah.
had decided he's going. So he
Yeah.
said another name, and it I think bit him in the butt in the end.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
definitely.
I also wrote in my notes, Dylan, snake. And then I wrote Snakelin, Ratlin.
Oh, Ratlin.
Ratlin.
Ratlin just sounds like another real name.
It does, yeah.
Like one of these like weird suburban mom kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Ratlin.
Ratlynn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly how I thought it. I also like that there's a lot of chaotic energy happening at this camp. Santino
Yeah.
asked you, Allie, if you he goes, so I'm gonna ask you something. Straight as an arrow. Just
Straight
you. Do you plan to stick with us in the merge?
Yeah.
Wait, I also want to say, I think it's funny that he calls it the merger, which is so Survivor Borneo of him. That's like what they would call it, like in like season 1 or whatever. They'd be like, "Oh, if we make it to the merger." It's just like so funny that he said that. But anyway,
I was gooped and gagged when he asked me that. And in retrospect, I'm like, why the hell why was I honest? Like, why did I say I don't know?
right.
But in the moment, I think that it was kind of clear that I was already on the outs. So I didn't want to seem disingenuous by acting like there's no way that I would ever work with somebody from the other side because I felt like that was BS. So I was like, just got to give it to you straight, just got to be honest, got to see how it goes. And I'm not sure if that worked in my favor or not, but that's the choice I made.
I kind of
Yeah,
think it
I don't
did.
I don't know how you two felt, but like I know personally, if I was in that conversation, for me, that would have been like blinking red lights for me.
Yeah.
So,
To not trust
I-
Allie?
yeah,
Or-
I would have
okay.
whoever I had before, I would have been like, oh, okay, we're not straight. Okay, you're good.
Yeah,
You're
I
out.
would have felt the same way, but I do think it actually works kind of.
Yeah, I think
Like,
it
a
did
little.
kind of work.
Clearly, yeah.
Yeah, I think I forgot about the immediate tribe mentality that happens when you're in Survivor. Like I forgot about the like us or them of it all. So I was like, oh, I'll just be reasonable and say I got to see how it goes. But yeah, it worked in the moment, but I don't know that I would take that same strategy with a different group of people looking back, but
Were
it's
you
all right.
like afraid to be caught in a lie later? Is
I
that what you
think
were worried
so.
about?
I think I was afraid to be caught in a lie, but more I think I was afraid, like I already felt that there was a Rochester thing happening,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like it would seem just like I was being like an appeaser if I said that I would
Yeah.
be with them to the end, because that's just
Right.
like clearly not the best path for me,
Mm-hmm.
to me at least.
Right.
So I thought that it would be better if I was just like, I'm open to it, but who knows? Like, this game is crazy.
Yeah.
This
Which is
game
like
is
a
crazy.
which is
Something
a
that
valid
everybody says at Tribal when
response.
they don't want to answer Kay straight
Yeah.
up. They're like, I don't know. It could be many things. It's crazy.
This game could go any which way.
No one should feel safe.
No one
I
should feel
certainly
safe.
don't.
I certainly, yeah, classic.
Oh my goodness.
We also kind of we have breezed past the grant well, first of all, we breezed past the painting of the flags, which I think is
Yes.
important for us to discuss.
Okay.
I thought that this was such a fun little thing that you had us do, Kay.
I agree.
Thank you. Oh my god.
It was a good. I also have to say, Jess, your coconuts were amazing.
Thank you.
I was like, those are really realistic coconuts considering the resources available.
Well, that's why I was, what did Gabby call me? Art director in chief or something like that.
Yeah.
Resident
Grant, did you feel
artist.
sad that you didn't get to like be a part of the decorating of the flags?
A little bit,
Aw.
yeah.
Aw. I'm
Well,
sorry
I
to
mean,
bring
you
up a
could have
sore
been.
subject.
To be fair,
Yeah.
I think you and Mo just decided to form your own little tribe by those chairs after.
I loved watching the Grant and Mo sections of the episode.
Yes.
They were some of my favorite things to watch. I loved Grant. You immediately found an immunity idol. You tried to help Mo find an immunity idol. He immediately gave up on the puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking I've got mine, and the first thought was if I could have figured that box out sooner, I probably would have just taken it and then had two. But I figured, well, I have one, and me and Mo are gonna be split, and I have a feeling I could possibly work with him in the future, and we're both on the way out, and just based already of what I had seen from him, I was like, I don't think he's gonna be an active supporter for himself on whatever tribe he's in. So if I can give him a little help to
Mhm.
get to that end game with me, you know, that's a good investment plan.
I love
I
that. I
think-
thought it was great.
Yeah, he struggled.
I also don't think it was smart. Like, I mean, it was nice, obviously, but I also think it was just a good move. Like you and Mo trying to do something together and you
For sure.
guaranteeing his safety and also your own. That would have been, you know.
That
Right.
one was the much harder puzzle, though.
I was
Mhm.
also gonna say it is interesting. I mean, obviously you're working with what you got, Kay, but
Yeah.
the discrepancy between the two puzzles was quite high.
Yeah,
And-
I gotta say that the puzzle I opened, it took 5 seconds.
Yeah.
All right.
was like,
Well, I do
"Ooh."
think you figured it out faster than most people would.
Mhm.
But I knew it was easier.
Yeah.
But I thought it was okay because the dolls had the better camp and the easier yin yang idol to
Mhm.
find.
Yeah, that's true.
Which we'll
Um,
get into.
which we
Yeah.
will get into. That was really my decision there. But I wanted them to be different. I didn't want them to be the same, especially
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
tribeless people going back and forth. Like,
Right.
you know, if
Then
Grant was like,
Grant
well, I
could've
figured this one
just-
out, better go over and get the other one.
Yeah, that's
I
true. Because I was
also-
actually. Oh, I'm sorry. Go.
No, what were you gonna say, Jess?
I was just gonna say I was thinking it would have been good to have two of the harder puzzle, but yeah, with being able to go back and forth, that would have been pretty useless.
I was
I noted that. Oh, what were you gonna say, Grant?
I was gonna say, talking old Survivor seasons, in my mind was Survivor China, where
Mhm.
if people did figure out someone had two idols,
Mm.
that
Oh my
would be
god,
a
James, you're
yeah.
so James.
Yeah.
pretty quick target.
In a way
Yeah.
that like all of the women watching are like, oh my god, he's so hot.
My
That's
mom was
right.
like, Grant is so hot.
I wasn't hot enough to have the two idols. There you go.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, you would have been like that if you had, but Sorry.
I noted in this vein of the puzzles, I thought it was interesting that Ella decided to call out the existence of the puzzle instead of keeping it to herself.
Mm.
Was that something that you guys all saw, Jess, or was it something that Ella could have kept to herself and tried to figure out later?
I think it would have been pretty obvious once we crossed the street and we were not all together. Or I think, but then when we would have, I mean, she could have like seen it and moved along, and then like we come back, but we would have seen it on the way back. Like I think it would have been pretty useless for her to try and hide it. But I didn't see it. You
I
can
was
see
gonna say
in
it
the
also
footage.
kind of looks like if she had been quiet and just kind of grabbed it real fast, it looked like
Yeah.
a lot of you guys just would have completely missed it because
I
people were not
totally would
paying
have completely
attention.
missed it. I was so focused on the traffic across the street. But like I noticed that in the footage. Like I'm talking to Zach, and we're both like in our own little world, and then like Ella
She's
and
like, look at
Gabby, I think,
that.
go
Gabby
to
was
the
Yeah.
talking
Totally
to
would have
everyone.
been the same
Yeah.
thing.
yeah.
I mean, the fact that no one in either tribe is like going around the house to see if
I know.
anything's awry is kind of interesting. Because
Yeah.
in the first season we did, everyone was like, "We're looking for idols right now." Well, immediately we're looking for idols.
Mhm.
I will say that wasn't me. I was never an idol girly. Like I was never
And that's
able
fair.
to.
But you had
Yeah.
so much time, and
lot of
Especially us, especially the coconuts had like ample time to be looking for stuff. I guess it just didn't feel like it was gonna be like, okay, time to look now. Like I don't know. That feels like a later game thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
And
It
the
happened
dolls,
very
like,
soon.
we were deliberating like
Yeah.
pretty heavy the whole time. Like we were pretending that we weren't deliberating heavy, but every time someone was alone, we were like, all right, so what's the deal?
Mhm.
What are we
Right.
doing? What are we talking about?
Yeah.
But Dominic went and found something.
Yep.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah. I also wanted to talk about the fishing that happened.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That made me laugh so much.
Well, it's
Because
so
I just
funny because you are like kind of sus about it. You're
you
like,
are so
so like
suspicious.
I'm like pretty trustworthy, but like can I can I fish off your pier?
By the
Like,
way, I have
I'd
no
be like, why did
idea
you say that?
I have no idea what you actually say to Zach Grant, because what I put in the captions is not what you say.
I
That
think
was
we
like what
landed on
I
you
like.
said trustable.
Yeah, I think you said trustable. I'm not sure.
My words
we
aren't always the best.
we like cycled between like trustworthy, reliable. I don't know, but yeah, I couldn't hear anything you were saying. So like when it happened in the moment, I remember being like, "What? What's going on?" And then Zach was like, "Oh, he's just gonna go fishing," and I was like, "Oh, okay." But then
My favorite
obviously it was like, "Is he fishing?"
Yeah, my favorite part is when Ella, you can tell she's really spinning out and she's like, is he sending us a message? Does he want us to go down to the water?
She's thinking too hard.
Like,
Yeah.
Is that what she said? I didn't realize that's what she
yes,
said.
I noticed that on this watch.
Yeah, on a rewatch, it's interesting because going into the whole game, my first thought, like we said earlier, was be wary of people who knew me. So there were more people who knew me on the dolls.
Mhm.
However, going back and forth, the dolls did not care one bit what I was doing at
Mhm.
all.
Oh,
So like if I had the information I had now, it seems clear that like dolls would be the obvious choice.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, we were like kind of like spinning out about you a little bit. Like we
Yeah.
were really suspicious because it was like we were trying to figure out what your objective was. Like I
It's to
said it at
fish.
one point. Clearly, that was we were like,
I love
he
it.
has been given a task. Like he has to do something. Like we didn't know if he had to like we figured out pretty quickly you were gonna have to like choose your tribe, but we didn't know if you were gonna like have to get like information back and forth or like something like that. Like, and obviously you kind of were given an advantage with the idol situation because you like were going back and forth.
Mhm.
But yeah, we were like, something's going on here. So that's why we thought the fishing was so weird. But I did also know that you brought your fishing rod. So I was also like, okay, it's probably just fishing, but maybe it's a cover up, you never know.
yeah.
You
Speaking of you
never
guys
know.
spinning out about Grant, what I thought was interesting is Grant does bring intel back to you guys about the potential vote out candidates.
Yes.
However, neither of those people were voted out. And all of you guys were like, I don't know, is he giving us the wrong intel? What's going on?
Mhm.
When you saw, I mean, maybe this is a next episode conversation, but did that affect anything when you saw that the people Grant mentioned were not the person who ended up being voted out?
I can't remember, actually, but I don't remember thinking about it. I think maybe I
I
just
can
forgot that
say
conversation had happened.
watching the footage, they didn't bring that up at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
we
mean,
like
I
forgot
think
about it.
I said at the time, like, I think based on what I
Mhm.
saw, because like I wasn't spinning anything, like
No,
going
I
between
didn't
the
think you were.
conversations, like,
Yeah,
you know, Dylan did end up being one of the two people that
yeah.
was on the chopping block. It
Right.
was the Max part that
I
I think
did
it was Max
also.
was paranoid himself
Mm,
Yeah. He
Yeah.
also,
because of how
people
he
were
did
talking about
doing the
Max for
puzzle.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people were definitely
So
talking about him.
You weren't wrong. Like people were giving you the correct information. It's
mm,
just not what ended up happening.
yeah,
yep,
no,
I
that's a good
remember like
point though, Allie. Like we should have maybe been thinking like, oh, did he feed us bad info? You know, I think we genuinely just had forgotten it happened at that point.
Yeah.
Probably.
Um,
There's so many things going on.
but I
Right.
do think it's interesting because I am like, after this conversation happens, I'm like, how do we know that this is real? Like,
Yeah.
which I think is a valid concern. But then everyone's sort of like, no, he's just trying to get to know us. Specifically, like Gabby and Ella are just like, oh, you know, everyone's good. Everyone's given information back and forth. Like, you know, it's just how you get to know people.
And you and Zach are like, well, I don't know. I don't know about this guy.
yeah, I couldn't get Zach's trust one bit at all.
Yeah.
I just thought it was so funny. Like, I was like, yeah, that's what you do. But also, like, he could be
That's
lying.
normal behavior.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are a lot of targets, potential options on the dolls. I think the only person who wasn't mentioned was you, Allie.
What
Wow.
can I say? Not a
Um,
threat. Not that week. Perfect middle line.
Did
Yeah,
you
you
guys talk
swam.
about
You were the
some
only one to successfully do the swim
so
Yes,
true?
without a life jacket.
without
And
a life
that's
jacket.
and you can tell my swimming was really good. I was
Yeah.
like,
one of the notes I do have on here, I think we kind of haven't touched on yet, was Allie and Caroline talking about the choosing of the tribes.
mhm,
Pretty quickly, Allie and
Yeah.
Caroline were like, you know, I thought we were gonna be playing a different game this time, but it looks like this is
Yeah.
gonna be Manhattan 2 Electric
Yeah.
Boogaloo.
I did
yeah,
want
So
to
I'm
talk
gonna
about
double
that
down and
too.
be angry about it.
Yeah.
and
Take it
I
Certainly
out.
some
also
animosity.
yeah,
Definitely.
definitely some animosity. I was matching Caroline's energy, I
Yeah.
felt. And I was stupid because I was like, I really didn't want to play like that. I didn't, implying that I just didn't want to work with Caroline, I think.
Yeah.
And then I
Right.
was like, yeah, let's make an alliance.
Yeah.
Yeah, Caroline, I remember she was very upset about how it worked out. That Zach, she thought it was very telling that Zach chose
Hmm.
all the same people from
Yeah.
Survivor,
Which
which
I
worked in her
do.
favor.
I do have to say, I don't really think that the intention was to like play the same game, you
Mhm.
know? Like, I don't think that that was not, is from confessionals and from being there, I don't think that that was like the sole intention with the tribe picks. But it makes sense that she's upset about it because her first confessional is like, I really just wanna, you know, we gotta start with a clean slate, like that kind of thing, like, because she knows that she's gonna have a target on her back. So I guess that's like her main concern.
Yeah.
Is if like, oh well, if they're playing the same game, then they're gonna expect that I'm gonna play the same game. So she's concerned about
And
that. But
she's
yeah,
also, yeah, she thinks that she's the number one target, which
yeah,
is like people do say,
yeah,
myself included, I do not trust Caroline
yeah,
because she's such a good player.
yeah,
And I do think that she lampshades that well later in the episode. She's already starting with her Caroline
hmm,
antics, talking to Dylan about why would anybody get me out? I'm not going to make it past the merge, or if I
yeah,
do make it past the merge, I'm going to be the first one out. It's really stupid to vote me out. That is not a good idea, you know? And it works. It works for her. I don't think anybody
yeah,
was super seriously talking about her because she is
No,
good at challenges, but you already see the strategy coming from her.
Yeah.
definitely.
as Dylan said, she has speed, she has puzzle.
She is speed, she is puzzle. She's the full
And
package.
that's all you need.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys want to start talking about tribal or not, but
Well, I think
There
first we
was
need
just
to talk
one
about
thing that I really wanted to touch on.
okay.
Um, which was Max being paranoid, talking to Allie, and then he's like kind of debating between Dominic and Dylan, and he says something that I quote
I love it. We say it all
to
the
this
time.
day.
Yeah.
When
A
he's
lot
like
of
really
quotable
like
moments here.
he really is into Dominic's energy because, and I quote, he's very encouraging, and he says it just like that, and it just brings me so much joy. And every time I say that phrase, I say it like that.
Yeah, I
Very
cannot
encouraging.
overstate how often we say those words now.
He's very
Honestly, like a lot of
encouraging.
this stuff is quotable through the years. Like a lot
Definitely.
of quotable moments happening here.
For sure.
Yeah. And
Um,
he, because he likes Dominic so much, because he's very encouraging, he ends up voting for Dylan.
That he does.
I thought that was
And
funny.
so do you, because you really want the Yinning idol that he has found to be bequeathed to
Yeah.
you.
Yes, I do.
You're so Allie with this idol is so funny. Okay, first of all, we have to talk about the fact that he found it in the turtle with no clue whatsoever, simply because he was like, "How you have to look in the turtles."
Oh, sorry. I actually need to talk about this because a year in advance, Zach sent me a video of the property so that I could kind of like plan things out. And there was a small little like shed that was in like the backyard. And I had a whole like clue written for the Yinning idol being in that shed. Um, and then when I got there, I was like, where's the shed? Where's the shed? So I had to quickly scramble, and then his mom, lovely woman, we love Kim. She was like, well, I have this turtle. So I quickly had to write like a clue for that, and that's why that's there. But it is like pretty obvious.
Yeah. So wait,
That
when
is a
was the
place.
clue supposed to come into play? Like where were
Oh
they
yeah,
supposed
let's
to get
talk
the
about
clue
it.
from?
Okay,
Because
yeah, no, no,
it
no. Let's
seems
talk about it. There was a
okay.
lot that, because it was so obvious, he found it without a clue, which is really
Yeah.
unfortunate because I had a whole plan that the clue for the idol was going to be at the other tribe's camp. And I was gonna have walkie-talkies set up with the clue so that they could talk to each other. And then that would establish some sort of like cross-tribal like relationship in some sense. But that didn't end up happening. And once Dominic found it on his own, I was like, well, now this is kind of ruined. So I never put out the walkie-talkies, and I was just hoping that someone would find the other one.
Yeah.
The other camp.
Yeah. I do think you should have thought about the fact that you had a turtle puzzle because
Oh yeah, because then he was
that
like,
was
"There's
how
a
he
turtle
found it.
theme."
I did love that though.
Yeah.
Oh,
The funny
the
thing
reason
too.
specifically I could not have the turtle puzzle at the Coconuts camp is because it was from, Zach's childhood home, and I didn't want him to see it. And you
Right.
know what's so funny? He actually asked me, at some point during the game, like, if I found like an idol at the other camp, could I take that? So he definitely saw it and was like, that's not supposed to be there. That's in my kitchen.
Right.
So that's why it was there. But I obviously told him no because he wasn't supposed to be there.
Be there.
Yeah.
I will say, well, it was probably just when we were crossing to the water.
Yeah, no, it was just when like someone was like changing out of their swim clothes or whatever.
Yeah. I forgot what I was gonna say, but him being like, look in the turtles, look for the turtles, Allie. So funny. They're in the turtles. They're all gonna
And
be
I
in
did have a
turtles.
thought that the other idol was gonna be like not available to. So I'm not, as we know from Survivor Manhattan, I'm not the best finder of things. So that wasn't really something I was prioritizing going into this game.
I think that's valid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like you kind of felt similarly. Jess.
Definitely. I mean, like, I consider myself an okay finder in my life, but like for some reason with this game, I just suck at it. So I
Yeah,
just was
same.
like, and also I just think it's like way more, in my opinion, way more important to prioritize the social game and strategic game over finding an idol that might keep you safe one time. I don't know. That's just like the way that I went into it.
Yeah.
Both seasons really. So I was definitely not looking. I was not looking around for anything.
And I think you can tell how guilty I feel when I clearly have already decided to vote Dominic out. And then he comes to me and he's like, Allie, I trust you the most. I really want to work with you. Here's an idol. Find the other one and we can work together. And I was
I
like,
do love this happening.
And then you're
like,
reading the part where he can give it to someone when he gets voted out, and you're like, now's
Yep.
my time.
I was
I know
really
that
hinging on that.
It
I
was a
know
good
that Dominic
plan.
Yeah, well,
It's
that's what I was
really
gonna
complicated.
say. The whole idol thing was like good from both of you guys. Like I think Dominic like sharing that information with someone because he didn't really have any connections on the tribe. Like I liked the idea that he had, you know, and he
Totally.
was like, and you'll get the other half somehow, and then we'll work together. Like it was a good way to keep him around. I think that he wasn't necessarily thinking about the fact that you might just want him to bequeath it to you when
Yeah.
he is voted out this round.
Do you guys think Allie was his best shot at sticking around, or do you think there might have been someone else he could have told that would have been better?
I mean, it seems like the Upstate gang was much more like willing to work with him,
Yeah.
but I think he just liked you a lot, which is why he
Yeah.
picked you first.
And
You're
I
so
like him,
agreeable.
like I said, because I'm so agreeable.
You're so
You're so
agreeable.
agreeable.
I think it would have been a really good move for him to tell like Santino or Max.
Yeah.
Because they were already going to vote Dylan out. I don't think that Dominic, maybe he didn't realize how close Dylan and I are, like on a personal
Yeah.
level, or he just wasn't thinking strategically about the clear lines that were already kind of forming. But it did put me in a weird position because I was
Yeah.
like, I want the idol. It's not really mentioned how this happens in like how the votes line up, but I really wanted the idol. So I wanted to stay in Dominic's good graces, but I wanted him to go home. And I had thought everybody was voting Dominic out. Max did not vote Dominic out, which is how that led to a tie because Max and I both voted for Dylan when I thought that me voting for Dylan would just show Dominic that I was on his side and then he would give me the idol.
When there was a
Right.
tie, I looked at your face and you're like, no.
I'm so sad that Caroline blocks my face for like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just know I was shitting my pants.
Oh,
Well, the good news
really
is that
a reaction shot from was when Dominic is like digging himself into a hole and then drags you down with him.
yeah.
Oh,
The good news is that at least you like are very reactive with your hands. So you see you go like from behind Caroline. You go
And then when it's thrown to me, I flounder.
Oh,
I could
yeah.
not have given a
Oh,
worse.
yeah.
Because again, I'm trying to stay in Dominic's good graces, so I'm not trying to say, well, like, yeah, I was gonna vote him out anyway. But I kind of say that. And
yeah.
then, but like because I'm in such a weird space, I don't know how to navigate it, and I just really fail in that regard.
My favorite part is when you like so clearly don't want anyone to read the clue. So like, but if you had done that around me, I'd be like, give me the clue.
Yes,
You're like, no,
literally.
don't look at it. Don't look
let's
at it
be
too hard.
clear. She says, and I quote, "Bitch, put that away." No, sorry. She says, "Bitch, stop looking at that."
It was such a visceral reaction because my whole plan hinged on the fact that he could give the idol to somebody when he gets eliminated. And I did not want anybody to know that because he said that the advantage disappears with him if he goes home. So I
he
was
clearly
like, okay.
didn't like process that was the case. Yeah.
Or he
I
knew
think
it was the case and he was
Stop
trying to be
looking
like,
at that.
bitch, stop looking
Like,
at
you
that.
just met this
But,
man
like-
2 hours ago.
But like, Allie, how much does this half idol mean to you that you're willing to like put your entire social game on the line that you
Apparently
might get it?
so much. Apparently so much. Well,
It's not even a full idol.
But okay, truly, what would you have said? I'm thinking about it now. I don't know what I would have responded if I had time to think about it.
Yeah, I
feel
don't
like
have anything.
I mean, I don't know if this is the right thing to say, but like I feel like I would probably just be like, yeah, no, I didn't tell anyone because I was pretty sure he was going home. And like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like I would have just like I would have been like, sorry, Dominic, the door is closed for us. Or you're
Mm.
gone, you're done, you know, like because I would be like, okay, you're not bequeathing it to me, whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's fine.
A
Cut
comment
your
that I
losses.
a comment that I picked up on was when Caroline said, "The fact that you didn't tell anyone makes me not want to trust you."
Right.
And my first thought was, as someone who found an idol very early on and was actually in that position, how many people are actually immediately going to tell someone?
That's the
No.
that's
And
the
if
thing.
Caroline did, she wouldn't have told anybody.
No.
It seems like that was just she smelt blood in the water and she was going for the kill.
Yeah.
But then again,
But also, like,
is Dom still the best choice for her at that point, or
But-
for any of the Rochester people?
I mean, she has a
He-
vendetta against Dominic
because
now.
Dylan
So
set that up to
Right.
protect
yeah.
Well, my thing is, I see where her comment is coming from because he's now presenting and it's like, oh, well, I'm gonna use it for one of you.
Yeah.
And
all
she's
of
like,
us.
and she's like, well, like, I don't trust you because you just said that now. Like, if you were gonna say
Right.
that, like, if you were gonna use it for everyone, like, you would have told us before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. No, there's
Like, now
no
you're just
way
saying it to
to
somebody.
there's no way for him to get out of this situation once he shows the
Yeah.
idol because it's like,
That was
yeah, no, I'm
silly,
not going
silly
to trust
play.
you.
Silly
I mean,
play.
I appreciate that he tried something, you know. I feel like he could have done something better to stay,
He
but
could have maybe literally been like, I'll give it to you right now or something. I don't know. Like,
give you
yeah,
last
some
or like people in Survivor always like when you're like, okay, I lied, but now I'm honest, instead of being like, you know what I mean? Like, I was trying to hide it before, but in order to stay, I will now pledge myself to use this for us or whatever. Like, if you like tie in transparency with the
yeah.
lie or whatever.
He also like he reveals it, but he's so vague about it, which is like
yeah,
Mhm.
it
And he's
makes
like,
it even
"It's
more
not an
sketchy.
idol."
It
yeah.
reminded
He's
me
like,
that
it's not an idol.
it reminded me of that season of Survivor. I think it was Boston Rob's third season, where like the very first tribal, there was the one person who found the idol and was trying to get Boston Rob out, and someone let out that she had it, and Boston Rob's like, "Show us, or we're voting you out." And it's just, very similar
Mhm.
situation. You think you have the power, and then boom,
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
worse.
Yeah.
This is
It
very
was
true.
a very interesting play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that the idol stuff is like always weird because it's like, yes, everyone knows that like if you found an idol for real, you would not tell everyone. But when someone keeps an idol from you, you also have this like obligation to be like, well, now I don't trust you. So it's kind of just like a lose-lose situation, like no matter where you're at. Because like everyone knows they wouldn't do it. But
Yeah, I feel
you're
like
still
everyone,
expected to share the information.
I feel like everyone knows that no one would share it. Everyone's just
Yeah.
keeping up with the facade of it.
Yeah.
And
Right.
also the fact that we were in a position to choose between Dylan and Dominic
Yeah.
meant that people were looking for any reason to vote either of them out. So
Right.
the fact
Right.
that this landed in our laps
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay, he's definitely going home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when you play like Mafia and like it's just like the person who talks last is like, well, I guess he talks last, so
Right.
we're gonna vote him out.
Yeah.
You know, you say anything, like people are gonna use it against you.
Right. Especially the first vote, you're like already kind of like, who's gonna go? Like,
You're also just
Oh,
relieved it's not
definitely.
you.
Yeah.
anyone but you.
And
Yeah.
I also added here that Dylan does a good job of like selling himself and like
Mhm.
his strengths while also kind of being like, what did Dominic really do? You
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
Definitely.
He's like,
He
me?
was.
I'm a
her
catch.
strength?
Yeah.
What's her strength?
For
Well, you
sure.
know
What's her
what? This
strength?
this actually brings back something else we can maybe talk about is Zach and Dom both chose the teams. Did either one really seem like a leader of those teams? And did that factor at all?
I mean, I think we can't really say much about Zach's leadership because like there was not really any gameplay happening on the
Mhm.
Coconuts tribe.
I
But
would say
Dominic certainly was not leading
certainly not.
anything.
Yeah. And I think that what he could have done was sell himself more in the first challenge as like,
Definitely.
this is something that I'm good at, this is something I can do,
Right.
and then that would have
Yeah.
ingratiated himself a bit more.
Because
But
because he spent the challenge, he was on the floaty
Yeah.
thing, and then he didn't do anything else. Is that he failed at the
Didn't-
puzzle at
yeah,
the
he didn't do
beginning, and
anything
then
else. But his argument was that he had to swim out to the dock in order to get up on it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
clearly has
Well, no,
ability-
he did have to swim back. That was part of
back.
the
He had to swim
challenge.
back.
Oh,
yeah.
that was part of the race. Gotcha.
Yeah.
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 So that's
Um,
fair.
Which
Yeah.
Gabby did not think was part of the race, but that's
Which is
besides the
actually-
point. But he does try the puzzle from what I understand, but did
I think he was like the
tap out.
first to try the puzzle, and then he tapped
In
out.
fairness, none of us were shining at the puzzle at that
Yeah.
moment.
But Max was good with the puzzle, as everyone says.
He has an abstract
He
brain.
has an abstract brain.
He sold himself as the puzzle guy, so we were like, gotta keep Max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the best at puzzles. Yeah.
But yeah, you obviously switch your vote. Max does not because he really wants to see what that idol's all about.
I did
Um,
like that. I like that from Max. Because this little idol thing is juicy, and I want to see where it goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
And
Max.
also, I really did not even consider the fact that Dominic would give the idol to the person he's actually friends with in real life. I think there's no way. I'm his closest friend in this game. He's gonna give this idol to
Yeah.
me.
Also, when I like designed this the system of bequeathing, I didn't think about the possibility of someone giving it to someone in the other tribe, but once he wrote the name, I was like, guess that's
Alright.
what it is.
Yeah, because it didn't say he couldn't. But,
Right, it
yeah.
didn't, so
Yeah.
I think
But
it
yeah.
would be more interesting if it was would have been like you or someone else in the tribe.
Well,
But-
it of course it would, because then it's like now there are two yin yang idols at that tribe,
Mhm.
guaranteed.
Right.
You know, like pre-merge. So, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
We'll
that's
see what happens with that.
who
Oh,
knows.
Who knows?
I was gonna say, so being where it is at the end of the first episode and rewatching it with a fresh set of eyes, do you guys have any opinions on who you think as at that point was the most the most well situated among everyone? Because I
You know,
kind of have
Grant,
an opinion.
That's a great
That's a
question
great
because
point.
Good question.
we here at Mam's Talk like to crown an episode MVP.
Okay,
Oh.
wait, I would like to say though, because I don't necessarily think this correlates to the episode MVP for me.
No,
so
it
we
doesn't.
can keep talking about it.
So who's in the
addition to
best
episode.
situation? We'll do that, and then we'll do the official episode
Uh-huh.
MVP. So best position currently.
I guess mine's the
Um,
same.
Let's
Mm.
do maybe on both tribes.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Okay.
So what about dolls?
Well, so I do think that like we said, Allie's in a really good spot. I think that the potential for her game to be blown up after the whole tribal thing is high.
Definitely.
But I think that socially she's well situated. Like Kay mentioned, no one's really looking at her at all. Like everyone has mentioned everybody else. Are people talking about Santino? I wanted to ask. Is
No,
that
not really.
no? Okay.
I
'Cause
guess he was not part of that. You're right.
because he was a pretty good presence, I guess, and like he made himself physically known
Yes.
within the challenge. So I think, as Ozzy would. So
Maybe it's a
he-
wild card, but that's actually who I would pick is Santino.
Santino.
Yeah.
Our
I
best
think he's
position?
I
Hmm.
think he's
I think that's
too
true.
aggressive.
Yeah,
and
I
I think
think he's
it's
too loud.
clear to me that he is like telling people what to do too much, and it's eventually going to like blow up his spot. That's how I feel watching his first episode. I would say Allie's in a better spot socially within the tribe.
I
Okay.
would have agreed with you if not for the end of the episode.
Yeah, that's fair.
Even though Caroline is considered a really big threat, I do think she's very well situated because she has
That's true.
relationships with me and Dylan. She has relationships with the Rochester crew. She's able to navigate it well. So I think that she's in a really good position.
That is exactly who I was going to say for
That's fair.
those reasons. And like even though someone said something about her, like it did get back to her. So like
Mhm.
she's kind of in a place where she can be in like everyone's ear or everyone
Yeah.
is in her ear, I guess. So that I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's
I mean, we don't
valid.
have to agree on that. It's not
Yeah.
like an official thing.
No, we don't.
Um
I was gonna say, here's what my thinking is again, he did well in the challenges, first of all. One thing that stuck out for me was him and Justin both going out for Surratt.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought socially that would be, keep him around, it was a good sport kind of thing. And,
Yeah.
If he were to eventually get to the very end, that's something you could say, right? And you would
That would
assume he
be
would have,
crazy.
yeah, you would assume he would have more good character moments like that along the way. And lastly, I thought he was very proactive in a way people weren't. So
I think that's true.
when Mo and I were by ourselves, he was the only one that came and talked to us,
Yeah.
right?
point.
As opposed to Mo doing nothing or me going to both tribes and people being paranoid. He was coming over. You can see in his initial pitch, he was talking about, I know the brother of the host, I know this and that, I can work on people's egos. Like he's clearly thinking these things through, and he's, he came to talk to me. He's clearly saying, all right, here's where things are now, but things are going to change because who knows what's going to happen with Grant and Mo. And he's already like laying the foundation for, well, Grant's a Rochester guy. Maybe I can throw him in here. Or Mo, he's also kind of disconnect. He's putting pieces together that at that point seemed like they would have a lot of potential if they were to fall a certain way.
I think that's a good argument. I think the people immediately like note him a little bit too much,
Yeah, I agree.
especially on the other tribe.
Mhm.
I think on our tribe he is well situated though. But I will say it's interesting that you bring up him saving Surratt because this is not in the episode, but I do very distinctly remember he's like, well, I think I'm safe with Dylan because I saved his partner. Like he makes a
I think
comment
he does
about
say
it.
that at some point in
Oh,
the
does he
episode.
say
I
it
also-
in the episode?
Maybe that he doesn't say it with Dylan, but he's kind of like, well, I
Yeah.
saved the
And
guy. So
I remember being like, I
that's
don't know how
Yeah,
much I like that.
I also
red
kind
flag,
of
red flag,
remember
red
him.
flag.
I kind of remember him being like, "Oh man, I'm so tired," because I had to, like that whole thing, which was like I think right after the challenge or something. I can't remember, but yeah, no, I think he's making, even if it's like maybe good this episode, I don't think it has like longevity for him to like fly in a good middle spot to the merge based on his gameplay this episode.
Sure. So let's move on to the coconuts then. Who's in a good spot?
I feel like I have to think. There's just like not a lot of game talk happening with
Right.
these girlies.
Well, Justin
I was gonna
performed
say
very
Justin.
well.
Yeah, Justin performed very well, and I do think that we had noted him jumping in as not as like a good sport thing, but it was like he's willing to help out, like
Yeah.
He's
like
a very
that kind of
valuable
thing.
resource.
He's a very valuable resource. He has athleticism.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was good at the swimming, so it was like he did. And we also were like, oh my god, he did so good on the puzzle. So like we had noted his challenge performance for sure,
Right.
in a good way.
And I don't think anyone else had like stood out in terms of like
Yeah, not
relationship
really.
building or anything. Like everyone just kind of got along, it seemed like.
Yeah.
I have to
that's
say, I
true.
know this is not a coconuts answer technically, but I think that the person who situated themselves the best in the situation was Grant. I think that
I
you
agree.
I do agree.
did
I
a
do
really
agree.
good job of like
What about
assessing
Mo?
sides, and Mo was a man without a plan, as he said in episode. But I think that you assessed both sides. You like looked around the area, you found an immunity idol, and you still had time to like charm yourself with members of both tribes. And even if people were suspicious of you, they weren't suspicious enough to be like, we got to get Grant out of here. Like Jess even says, I would be happy to have Grant on my tribe, which is a change in tune from the beginning of the episode. So I think that Grant, you were very well situated, even considering the fact that you were not originally picked.
Yes, I agree. And I think that maybe brings us to the episode MVP.
Yeah.
Who wants to
Who
go
did we select? Do we have
first?
any nominees?
I will go because this is a segue from what Allie just talked about. I nominate Grant as the episode MVP for all the reasons Allie just said. I think he has an idol. No one seems to know he has an idol. He like been making good connections with Mo. He's making good connections with people on the dolls, specifically Santino. He's making good connections with all of the coconuts. And even though he, like Ali said, he's maybe being like sussed out a little bit, like the fact that we're like talking about him doesn't necessarily seem to be a bad thing. It seems more of like a what's his deal kind of thing, rather than like a if he comes over here, he's got to go kind of thing. So
Yeah. I said the same. I said Grant is my pick for episode MVP for all the reasons Jess and I both said. I also do have a runner up, as I mentioned. I think that Dylan played his hand very
We're
well.
not talking about your runner up.
Oh, all right. Well, sorry. I have a second nominee if we want to talk.
No, because I actually picked Dylan.
Oh,
Wow.
okay. Well,
Sorry, Grant. You were my runner up. No, but let me talk about Dylan.
okay. You talk about
Because
Dylan.
I think that he played this round flawlessly,
Mhm.
especially given that he was literally like out of the game for about an hour, about
Yeah.
half of the time. Like, and the cards were kind of stacked against him. You know, everyone was like, we got to get this guy out because, you know, his partner's out. It's such a good excuse. And he comes back and he says, no, that's not happening.
What's her strength?
What's her strength?
strength? I'm gonna
Um,
go run to Caroline and tell everything that Dominic just said to me.
Yeah, he says like the exact right things to the right people. And then, I mean, he does get 2 votes, obviously. Not from
3 and then
3.
yeah. But
One was not real from
Yeah.
you. Dominic's not going to vote for himself.
Yeah.
And Max was just, I don't know. I guess he didn't talk to Max. That's his biggest
yeah.
downfall here. But yeah, I mean, I think he just really did a good job of flipping that vote. And then when the tie happened, letting Dominic dig himself into a deeper hole while like building himself up. I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
I also noted that he had a really good read on people's conversations to him. Like he was talking to
yeah.
Max and Santino, kind of being like, "Oh, who do you think it is?" And then them sort of being like, "We gotta wait and see," you know, like. And he was like, "Okay, so they're talking about me."
Yeah, and it's true.
Obviously. Yeah.
And he accurately read that. So I
Yes.
guess the big question is, Grant, did you say yourself or someone else?
Well, it's hard to say anyone on the coconuts just because I don't think the stakes were high enough for them.
Yeah.
You know, if you were to choose someone on there, probably Justin.
Mhm.
I'll also go with Dylan just because, you know, it did seem like he was down and out. I mean, I was pretty convinced myself. I say it in the episode. I do think it is a question of how much did Dylan save himself or how much did Dom sink himself?
Yeah.
And I think it might have been more of the latter, but you know, good for Dylan for, you know, coming out on top, and
I
he
will
was
say,
very persuasive.
once there was a tie, there was no world in which I wasn't voting for Dominic. Like my vote was immediately flipped, regardless of what he would have said.
Right, because you were like, he can't stay. You were like,
Yeah.
Dylan can't go instead. So
So
yeah.
that's my vote.
Okay, well, it's a tie
Well,
then.
we're at a
So
deadlock.
We have to draw rocks.
we have to draw rocks. Wait, should we try and break the tie or should we just crown both of them? What do you think?
I'll flip my vote. It's fun. No.
I also agree Dylan played a good game. I have a hard time giving the episode MVP to someone who was so in danger. And I also think that Grant is playing from, what'd you say?
They were both in danger, I would say. Like I think that Dylan and Grant came up from the
I think
bottom.
here's the
but
thing with
Grant couldn't
Dylan
have
being
gone
in
home.
danger for me is it wasn't really for any fault of his own. It wasn't like,
Yeah.
oh, Dylan did that thing. I think we might gotta get we gotta get him out. Like it was like a really arbitrary thing that he had no control over just because he like literally wasn't there.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
that's my argument. No shade, Grant.
That's true.
I'm fine having 2 MVPs.
You want to share gold medals? All right, I guess we're crowning 2. I don't know if I like it, but sure.
Okay, fine. I'll flip to
No,
Dylan.
no, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
I said both of them, so
Allie did say
I'm
both
fine
of
with it
them.
being Dylan as well.
Okay.
I'll take that.
So I bestow unto you episode MVP. Grant.
To
Take
Grant.
half of it.
And then you have to crack. Yeah. Mean
Crack
Girl
it. Yeah.
style.
Don't know if Dylan got episode MVP in Manhattan, but I know that he'll be happy about this. He really wanted it. So,
Mhm.
I'll make sure.
I don't think he did.
I don't think he
he
did. So
did.
it's his first one, I think.
He tried to crown himself
Congratulations.
episode MVP the episode he got voted out.
And we were like, babe, no.
You got voted out, babe.
You got voted out. It
You
can't
went
be
home.
you.
And he was like, no, but I come back. We were like,
Yeah, he did spoil. Anyway.
Okay.
So congratulations, Grant and also
And
Dylan.
Dylan.
Yay.
Thank
All right.
you.
So thanks for being here. I had a really fun time watching this, reminiscing and chatting with you all. Looking forward, we have more episodes to come. Next week, our very own Sarat will be on to talk about
Back from the dead.
his time on the show. And we also are discussing Survivor 46. When that is done, we will be recapping that. So things to look forward to. And with that, ma'ams are signing off.